I'm not a morning person.
Dedicated to being passionate about it.
Bodybuilders have become more lazy.
People have always thought I lift fake weights.
Iran and the United States.
You take responsibility for that.
I wanted to ask you, why did you choose bodybuilding as your profession? Because I know you played football before, right? And then you got into bodybuilding. So why bodybuilding?
Because I fell in love with that. Because I fell in love with the gym, and that's why I'm so passionate when I walk into the gym, and that's why you're so intense. Like there's people, there's a couple of comments. I saw a couple of my buddies from college post on that video, and they're like, he's still just as intense now as he was at 19 years old. Like that, I mean, listen, was I ever going to be an NFL player? No, that was never in the cards. But do I think, that my bodybuilding career is what it is because of the intensity that I bring in the gym? Yeah, I fell in love with fucking working out. I think there's a difference with people that work out because they want to be a bodybuilder, or they bodybuild because they work out. Like I would be in the gym training like a maniac, regardless if I got sprayed orange and flex on stage or not. And that's why when I go into the gym, yeah, maybe I take it a little too serious, but like, I'm not saying everybody has to walk into the gym and train how I train, but like, I respect the people that sit on their cell phones and I have to wait for a machine. Like, just respect if I'm doing a squat. Like, that's all it is. If I give you respect, just show me the same respect. And those kids weren't doing it to be disrespectful. It was an accident, and I get it. And but people are like, you could have waited. And yes, I could have waited to get off the machine, but somebody said, why didn't you wait? He goes, if I were you, I would have waited and just told them afterwards. And I go, but you still would have told them, right? And he was like, yes. And I go, so one thing my father taught me at a very young age is not everybody was brought up the same way. So you can't expect everybody to react in a situation the way you would, because you were brought up the way me and your mother brought you up. So I can't expect you to act the same way in a situation that I would, because I don't know how you were raised. You might have been raised completely different than me. My dad a hothead? My dad will sit here and say he was not a hothead. He was not a hothead. He doesn't have a bad temper. But a couple of years ago, somebody gave him the finger on a bike because they wouldn't get out of his way, and my dad tackled him off the bike at 60-something years old. Like, so my dad really can't say that, but I was brought up differently. And it doesn't mean I was brought up wrong. I was just brought up differently, and the way I view life is the way I view life. It doesn't make me right, but it also doesn't make me wrong. But you could have differences of opinions, but people don't understand that it's an opinion, not a fact. What I did wasn't wrong. It might not be liked or understood or viewed the same by other people. And some people might be like, I would have done the same thing. Doesn't make either side right or wrong. The video wasn't about me being tough and telling the guys to move. The gym, the video was about have just a little gym etiquette and respect for people in the gym. And if you're going to joke around and do something, like do it out of people's way who are training.
Absolutely. I want to ask you about your training style. So obviously it's extremely intense. It's extremely heavy, right? You go all in.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I mentioned, Branch Warren, you remind me the way he trains, the way like Dorian Yates in his old videos trains, right? But it seems like right now there's, a lot of people, a lot of trainers that preach kind of longevity, and they kind of bring in Dexter Jackson in the equation, or like Phil Heath or something like that. And it's like, guys, let's work on machines. Let's really do focus on life after bodybuilding type thing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what is your take on that? And sort of like, what do you think is the right method? Or is it really depending on your own personal genetics and your body?
Well, I did a bro split for like 90% of my career, and I worked with Charles Glass for many, many years. And I started working with John Meadows about a year and a half ago. And it's funny because he does use machines. He does incorporate more machines, but I also do more free weight stuff than I've ever done. And I don't think it's about weight or machines. I think it's about how you break up the body parts, and how, like, I do push-pull legs now. Like, that's my split, where I was doing the typical bro split, like chest, back, shoulders, like just one body part a day. And the way John has me do it is we do like a couple feeder sets, which are like moderate weight sets. So instead of normally, let's say I would start incline dumbbells. I do 2-3 warm-up sets, and then I would do 100s for 15, 110s for 12, 130s for 10, 150s for 10. What John does is take all that middle 100, 110, 130, and he takes it out of the equation. So I'll just do like 2 light warm-up sets and then like maybe 100 for 6 and then like 120s for 2. And then I'll just do 2 big working sets with heavyweight. So my joints are actually being saved. And I'm not putting my, the stress on my joints through those other reps and sets that don't need to. I could focus the top set and be done. So it seems like I'm doing less volume, but I still incorporate a lot of machines now that I haven't in the past. So I would say for people, if I could change anything about my career, I would have said I would have incorporated a push-pull leg routine into my training regimen and not did a bro split for as long as I did.
Because you had some major, you had a shoulder surgery, right? And it was rotating cuff, I believe, right?
I had I had 2 surgeries on this shoulder, and I had 1 on this. But the surgery was called a tenodesis surgery. So where your labrum attaches to your bicep tendon, they pretty much cut it because my bicep tendon was so frayed and like swollen. And he was like, "It's gonna snap." He goes, "Your bicep tendon's gonna snap." So what they do is they cut your bicep tendon away from your labrum, and then they drill a hole into your humerus, and they anchor the bicep tendon into the humerus. So I got that done on both shoulders.
But it's amazing that you healed and you're still competing and working out. I mean, because that's a complicated surgery. I've known about that surgery before. I heard about it before.
I was out total with both of them because I got them done 5 weeks apart. 17 weeks I was out of the gym. I was 193 pounds.
Well, and those injuries, they were caused by like a tear, or was it over time? They kind of
over time, but I really think it had to do with 15 years of football and constantly getting hit. I just think it was the constant getting hit on the field. Because you're getting literally like the shoulder pads covered. But I mean, anybody that played ball know, like if you hit hard or you get hit hard, like it destroys your shoulders. So I think that was kind of the start of it.
So I saw a video of you and John Meadows training. You mentioned John Meadows.
Yeah.
He's incredible, right? He's a very smart, knowledgeable guy.
He's a godsend, man. Yeah. He's a godsend. Yeah.
And in that video, it was very interesting because obviously you're an experienced bodybuilder. You know what you're doing. And he was still showing you some things that you were kind of like adapting to your technique. That was interesting.
I learn more from John every day and I learn something new all the time with him. And I love it. And that's what makes bodybuilding again exciting for me because I'm learning new shit now when I go into the gym, and it makes it fun for me, because it's easy for me to just grab weight and press, but when he has me do certain things his way and like pre-exhaust the muscle, and then I try to do the weight that I normally do, it's like it's fun because it's a test to me. Now it's like I'm testing myself. Like, okay, how really strong are you?
Interesting. So it seems like you do embrace the longevity, right? Because I know a lot of people criticize Ronnie Coleman. They say he just, destroyed his body because he was training like, too intense in his career, right? So it seems like now you kind of embrace the both, right? You seem like longevity, and it's interesting. Yeah,
I mean, I don't have that many years left, man. I mean, I'm not blind. I know I probably got another year or 2 left, and it's done. I'm going to be almost 40. I had surgeries. My body doesn't usually really look the way it did back in 2015 and 16. So this isn't a sport where like you can kind of beat Father Time. Like once Father Time catches up to you, like it's a wrap. Like there's nothing you can really do in the sport of bodybuilding. So it's like at some point you got to be honest with yourself. And I think I got a little more in the basement, but that's about it.